Hello everyone, it's Mir, and for today's video I tried to condense quite a lot of topics into something that is hopefully not too long and easily digestible. So I guess this is my warning to actually pay attention because there's a fair amount of information in the next few minutes that I'm gonna throw at you. As per usual, a disclaimer that I unfortunately didn't get to play Street Fighter 6 myself. This is all from the footage that we have and that I've personally seen, as well as reports from people who have actually played the game. So I'll make it clear if I'm unsure of something. Now let's get to it then. Today I want to talk about supers in Street Fighter 6. We'll go over how they work, as well as super meter and special properties that they might have. Let's start with the basics. First of all, every character gets at least 3 unique supers. Some, like ChunLi from the demo version of the game, get access to even more. You don't have to choose between these supers at the beginning of the match, like for example in Street Fighter 3. These are available to you at all times, much like a Marvel vs. Capcom game, for example. A big difference compared to games like Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 is that you can stock multiple supers at the same time. In Street Fighter 6, the meter caps out at 3 bars. These supers are divided in levels, level 1, 2, and 3, and require different amounts of resources to be used based on their level. 1 for level 1, 2 for level 2, and 3 for level 3, as you probably have figured out by now. So let's talk about how these resources work first. It will help us understand everything else a little bit better. Like many previous Street Fighter titles, supers use their own resource bar. In Street Fighter 6, this meter is shown at the bottom of the screen. This is quite similar to the super meter we've seen in a lot of iterations of the series, with a few key differences. The first big change is that this meter is used exclusively for supers. Ever since the introduction of EX moves in the Street Fighter 3 series, the meter was shared between the two. But now, since EX moves, or more correctly overdrives, use the drive meter at the top of the screen, supers are back to their own unique resource. The way meter is gained is also slightly different than in previous games. You can still build it by hitting an opponent, regardless whether they block or not, blocking moves yourself, as well as getting hit. Landing throws and landing your drive impact also gives you super meter. Pairing also gives you super meter, but unlike Street Fighter 3, both parties actually get meter, instead of just the one that executed the parry. Interestingly, when pairing projectiles, both sides build significantly more than if the projectile is blocked. This is an interesting way of balancing the zoning game, as you'll be negating drive damage if you parry, as well as building resources to maybe use an anti-projectile super, or cash out later when you finally get in. But at the same time, you'll be giving extra resources to the zoner that you're fighting, further doubling down on the concept of risk-reward that they're pushing so much with Street Fighter 6. Other notable differences in meter building is that whiffing special moves builds no meter at all. So for example, if someone jumps over a fireball, or you whiff a DP on purpose on the other side of the screen, that move won't give you any meter at all. This is true for normals as well, in case you're curious, like it has been for the past couple of games. The last important change is that most of these rules don't actually apply to the supers themselves. Landing a super, getting hit by one, blocking it, or even parrying it gives you no meter whatsoever, at least in the current build of the game. I find this really peculiar, as getting hit by a super used to give you resources in other games, both in form of EX meter, revenge meter, or V-gauge. Alright, now that I've explained how the meter works, we can talk about the more exciting stuff. So let's get back to the supers themselves. As I mentioned earlier, everyone gets at least one of each level of supers, based on the 4 characters in the demo, in addition to Guile, who was shown in his own trailer, and that most recent Capcom showcase. We can see the ideas behind every character's super kit. Most level 1 supers seem to be designed to be all-purpose, all-rounder supers. They don't do much damage, basically they're like a really strong EX move. You can only cancel into level 1s from normals, you're not allowed to do it from specials, although some level 1s appear to be fast enough that you can link them after specials in certain combos, both as juggles or on the ground, like a Link. For all the characters we've seen so far except Jamie, they're actually projectile supers as well. Ryu has Shinku Hadouken, Luke gets his Street Fighter 5 V-Trigger Machine Gun Fireball, Guile gets his Sonic Hurricane, and in ChunLi's case, she gets access to both a grounded and an air version of her Kikosho. We know that some of these supers have an alternative version based on the button used. Like for example, we know that Guile's Heavy Punch Super is actually an anti-air projectile at an angle. Although I couldn't confirm, it is possible that a super like Shinku Hadouken from Ryu has different speeds based on the strength of the button you pressed when you executed it, like it was in other games. Level 2 supers can be cancelled into from normals and overdrives, but not basic special moves. They are designed to be more flexible or be utility supers instead, and in my opinion some of the more interesting ones that we have seen right now. Some are in fact not even attacks. For example, Jamie's level 2 super instantly gives him maximum level for his drink meter, but turns his super bar into a timer. During this time, I don't believe he can gain meter or use other supers, and when the timer is up, it will go back to however many drinks he legitimately had before. Interestingly, the super itself seems to be very fast in startup and recovery, at least during cancels. So if you cancel into it from a normal, you can continue your combo after with another normal. This is similar to how the V-Trigger freeze worked in Street Fighter V, except you won't be getting this for free every round, so I think it makes for a fun design for a super. Gal's level 2 is his Street Fighter V V-Trigger 1 Solid Puncher. It allows him to throw Sonic Boom follow-ups for extra damage and space control. You can even change the speed of the follow-ups, and it also works for his overdrive Sonic Booms as well, just like Street Fighter V. Ryu's level 2 is Shin Hashogeki, and this is just an attack, but you can hold it to turn it into an unblockable. Now, I'm not quite sure how this will interact with the rest of the game because of parry, and it seems like this unblockable version is parryable, but it's an interesting property to give to a super, and it's possible it will be changed in the future to actually be unparryable as well. ChunLi's level 2 is their classic Hoyokusen, which is both in Street Fighter 3 and Street Fighter 5. Like the former of the two, however, you can get a combo if you jump cancel the recovery. In fact, ChunLi can combo into her air level 1 right after, if she has enough meter. Luke's level 2 is the black sheep of the bunch, I would say. It's just a damage super, although with really impressive corner carry. And to be honest, in my opinion, it looks a little bit janky. The camera is kind of misplaced if you ask me, but it's possible it'll be fixed in the future. Now we finally get to the big boys, the level 3 supers. These are the most damaging attacks a character gets in this game. There are also the cinematic supers of Street Fighter 6, and they all look amazing in my opinion. They did a really good job. They all share some pretty unique properties. For one, they're the only supers you can cancel into from basic special attacks, so the classic Street Fighter staple of special into super is only available for level 3s in Street Fighter 6, at least as far as we know so far. This allows you to confirm into a level 3 without any drive investment, or use it at the end of long combos after you blew all your resources. The other property is that when your character is about 20 to 25% HP, which is when your health bar turns yellow, the super gauge flashes with the word critical arts, and the 3 next to the bar turns into the letter CA. If you don't have 3 meters at the time, this will happen when you eventually get them. What this means is that your level 3 will actually turn into an empowered version of the move, and as far as I know, this only means more damage. I'm not sure if you get more invulnerability or other effects behind the scenes. They will also look visually different. For example, Ryu's Shinshoryuken will turn into a Denjin version, with lightning around his fist and different coloration during the cinematic camera. Jamie's level 3 turns from a quick flurry of attacks that ends in a double kick to the chin to something straight out of Mortal Kombat with sounds of bone breaking and all. It looks positively badass. As one last note on the critical arts, the pop-up message is plural, critical arts. Right now every character only has a single level 3, but it could be a hint at the fact that some characters might have multiple ones in the future. For example, a grappler character, like, I don't know, Zangief for example, could have both a command grab level 3 and a normal hit level 3. I mean, this is just food for thought. Finally, as one last property of all supers, they drain drive gauge when they hit an opponent. Level 1s drain the least at half a pip, level 2s drain an entire 1, and level 3s drain 2. Critical arts don't seem to change the amount drained as far as I could observe. Street Fighter 6 is really brutal when it comes to getting hit by a super, as they already don't give you any meter as I mentioned earlier, so if you get comboed into a level 3 you really are boned, especially if you're very low on drive, as these can actually put you in burnout state. And then you're even more boned, so you have to be extremely careful. Overall, this new super system appears to be very versatile and potentially extremely interesting. The name of the game in Street Fighter 6 is Resource Management, as they made very apparent so far. And since supers affect your opponent's drive, it will allow you to interact with the other character's resources as well, which is something that we don't really see in the Street Fighter series, with a few exceptions. I'm really excited to see how this will pan out in the future and how the competitive meta will evolve based around this interaction that we really haven't seen before. I hope this video has been informative and hopefully entertaining. Now you're walking away knowing a little bit more about Street Fighter 6. As your reward for sticking with me until the end, you get to make fun of all the people in the comments who ask questions about something that has been answered in the video, so go have fun with that. As always, more content is on the way. We are hard at work breaking down all the footage that we have, so we got our work cut out for us. I hope to see you on our next video, and if you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell so that hopefully YouTube notifies you, and if that works, I'll see you next time. Bye!